CJ Stroud's done. It's over. We had said on the live stream yesterday that if he did not put up a good stat line against the Jaguars, that we were going to ceremonial bury his fantasy appeal, his fantasy stock, and I'm doing that right now. He is done. You can cut him. He's got a bye this week. Cut him. He got a bye this week. Listen to the numbers.
Oh my God, they're so bad.
He had 14.4 points against the Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Stink.
Jaguars.
Okay. He has been held under 16 points in 7 straight games in 8 of his last 9. This was against the Jaguars that he couldn't do this. So it doesn't matter. You can't say, well, Fabs, I can't cut him. He's got good matchups in the fantasy play. I don't care. He's not good this year. He's been one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy football. If you need to cut him to pick up Jordan Mason or maybe Nick Westbrook-Akina or maybe Pat Fry, whoever it is, I have no problem in a 1-quarterback league cutting CJ Stroud because it's over. We gave him the benefit of the doubt. We played him. I played him in 1 and done. He can't get it done. I don't know what's going on. It's Tank Dell is a shell of his former self. The only guy doing anything in that offense in the passing game is Nico Collins. That's it. I mean, Dalton Schultz had his first big game in the entire season, but Tank Dell's disappeared. He's really inconsistent. Obviously, they don't have Stephon Diggs. Whatever the deal is, CJ Stroud has taken a step back statistically when we all thought he was going to take a step forward. And now with the Texans being off, if you got to cut him, cut him. I mean, honestly, he's I'd rather have Russell Wilson, at this point. I mean, he's not a worthwhile player.
One of the issues here that doesn't affect us in fantasy because they're not going to fix it. So, but I'm just saying there's a big part of the Texans that feels pretty inexplicable. Like, wow, how did CJ Stroud get bad this year? I don't understand. Part of it, I think, has to do with the offensive line and the pressure that he's under. He has the 4th highest pressure rate in the league this season after only Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Deshaun Watson. Now, sometimes pressure rate is related to the quarterback's performance because they don't get the ball out
holds on the ball
pressure
too long,
comes. Yeah. So, it's notable that Deshaun Watson's up there, and then you have to go scroll to find Jameis Winston, whose pressure rate is way lower, right? So there's a story there. 10% lower in that case, which is interesting. But he has 41 sacks, which is the 2nd highest number in the league. Like they have a bit of an O-line issue there this year that kind of helps explain it at the very least. But like I said, the explanation doesn't matter to us in fantasy because are they going to get a lot better? Are they going to go sign a bunch of no?
Yeah.
So it is what
the
it
matchups
is
too. Miami, Kansas City, and Baltimore for the last three games, which are all in the fantasy playoffs. There is not. I don't trust them against any of those teams. So I would not have a problem cutting CJ Stroud. I know it's crazy. We all thought he was going to end up being a top 8 quarterback like he was last year. It has not come to fruition. And when you do that against the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's kind of, I mean,
that's the one we can't look past.
Sam Darnold had a bad game against the Jaguars and we crapped on him, but at least he's come back. And his last 2 games against really tough defenses, he's been really good. Yes. So we pushed the whole. I was pissed about Darnold for a little bit yesterday. I texted Lindsay, and then he woke up. But and now I mean they got Atlanta coming up next. So I mean that's a pretty good matchup for Sam Darnold. But Darnold is forgiven because he bounced back. CJ Stroud's not bouncing back.